We have been fighting the same four sub bosses ever since Leagues came out. And maybe one day the developers will understand that we want to see new sub bosses introduced to the game. It would keep the game a little bit more fresh and more interesting. However, I really hope they don't add any of the five characters on this list because today we're going to be talking about top five sub bosses I do not want to see in the game. Number five, Enraged Bane. I know that sounds a little bit weird because we never hear about this character, but for me, I think he's a little bit underrated. But I would not want to see him as a sub boss specifically because of his passive. His passive is that every time he gets hit by a special, he becomes unblockable for 6 seconds. All right. Now let's think about this. In the 3 minutes that you're fighting a sub boss, what is the number one thing that you're going to use as a damage dealer most of the time? It's going to be your specials, all right? Some characters have good basic attack damage and whatever, but most characters, you're going to use their specials as the main damage dealer, okay? Now, if you're using your specials 99% of the time in the match, guess what that means? Enraged Bane is going to be unblockable 99% of the time. And when you add a crazy AI that also cheats, by the way, and you add unblockability on top of that AI, oh my god, crazy things would happen, man. This could be a cool case where he's one of those like sub bosses that you would have to be super strategical about and when you want to place your combos and when you want to do your specials. I know there's probably a way to beat him that way. However, I just do not want to deal with that. All right. I don't want to deal with a crazy unblockable AI. That would be super annoying, and I think it would annoy most of you. Okay. It would be very hard to create combo chains on top of that. There's just too many problems with this character as a sub boss. Number four, Black Adam. Now let's think about this for a second, okay? We all know that Black Adam is best suited to be a glass cannon character. In other words, low health, high attack. Now imagine if we took that same character, maybe reduces his damage a little bit. That's how they would do it for sub bosses. But we added 5 million plus health to him. Oh no, man. No, especially with his three godly abilities or specials, whatever you want to call them. It's over, man. It's over. You already know he's gonna spam that special one, and then he's either gonna spam you with special three or special two. And if he hits you with the special three, you're gonna get power drain. If he hits you with the special two, he's gonna act as horrific scarecrow and increase the amount that your abilities are gonna cost, which means you're gonna hit him less with your abilities, which means that it's gonna be very hard to reduce his health. All right, are we on the same page? Yes, yes, cool. All right. I think that basically explains why I don't want to see this guy as a sub boss. I know I'm always hating on him, but in this instance, I'm kind of loving him because he's going to be that crazy that I just don't want to see him. I just don't want to fight him. All right, I don't want to deal with that. Yes, like in Rage Bane, there's going to be there's going to be characters that are going to be good at fighting him, and there's going to be little techniques and tactics that we're going to find in order to beat him. But just face on, I would not want to see this character as a sub boss. Number three, reflective shields on sub bosses. Now, I don't think the developers are dumb enough and crazy enough to add this to the game, but then again, they waited about 4 months to release an update that had absolutely nothing to do with the problems we were asking them to fix. So let's take this with a grain of salt. Maybe they are dumb enough and crazy enough to add it to the game. Whatever. My whole thing is that every single time I fight a character in Arena or in Champions Arena or anywhere that has a reflective shield, the AI spams it 99% of the time, or they use it 99% of the time when I'm using my specials. So that is very annoying. I think everybody knows how the reflective shield works. It's basically in the name. If they trigger a reflective shield while you're using a special, your special will completely reflect back at you and do all the damage to you, or at least a huge chunk of it to you. And because we're dealing with, super powerful passives in raids, this would not be a good thing, okay? Not to mention that if they had a reflective shield, it would take you forever to kill them. All right. Forever. Because they're reflecting every single special that you throw at them. You would have to use basic attack characters or characters like Armored Supergirl or Multiverse Armored Supergirl, where you have to rely on the dot damage. Aside from that, you're not going to be using King of Atlantis Aquaman. You're not going to be using any sort of special dealing character or damage dealing character that uses specials. So, I think this explains itself. I don't want to see reflective shields in any sub bosses or in Brainiac or anywhere near raids. Number two, Multiverse Armored Supergirl. Now, I think we can all agree that she is super OP. So just to kind of make things a little bit simpler and so that I don't have to go through every passive that she has, let's say the developers grew a brain and they said that, okay, we're going to add her as a sub boss, but we're going to take away 80% of her passive. We're just going to leave two passives, and we're going to leave her passive on her special 1 and her passive on her special 3. I would still crap my pants. You know why? Because her special 1 not only does dot damage and does a lot of dot damage, it also adds burning. And burning reduces your defense, and it reduces the amount that you can resist critical attack hits, or the chance of you getting hit by a critical attack. Okay, that in itself is crazy. Even if they left that one passive in there, I would kind of crap my pants. But her special 3, guess what? It does additional damage to people who are burning. All right. So now we have these two things that are working together, and we all know that the AI and the sub bosses loves to spam specials. So now we have to deal with the fact that you're burning and your defense is cut in half, and the fact that you can't resist critical attacks, and the fact that her dot damage is high, and the fact that her special 3 damage is really, really high. Okay? This would not be a very pleasant place to be at. All right? Fighting this character is a big no-no. I guess it would be kind of cool to see Hellboy fight her since he can regenerate through the dot damage. But aside from that, it would be a big problem to fight her. Again, like all of the other characters, I'm sure we would find a way to get around this and find a good team to fight against her. But overall, she would be very annoying to fight. Number 1, Multiverse Black Lightning. I don't want to see this guy as a sub boss for two main reasons. Number 1 is his passive. His passive is that every single time that you use a special on him, that special increases by 1 bar of power. Now, earlier we were talking about how many specials you use in the 3 minutes that you're fighting a sub boss, and we said it was a lot, right? Now, imagine if every single time you used an ability or special, whatever you want to call it, it would increase by 1 bar of power. You're using your specials like a dozen times easily. Easily, okay? That means that your specials are going to be costing you 10 bars of power close to the end of the match. All of your specials are going to cost that. All right? That's a big deal breaker, okay? That's going to be very difficult for you to do damage to Black Lightning unless you're using a basic attack damage dealer. Aside from that, you're not going to really be using any specials against them just because it would take you way too much time to build up that energy to use your specials. The only character I can really think of that I would use specials on him is King of Atlantis Aquaman, and that's because it takes away percentages of his health. And because King of Atlantis Aquaman is just OP, it's kind of worth it. Aside from that, it's not really worth it to use any other specials against him. You would have to use basic attack damage dealing characters. Reason number 2 why I don't want to see him as a sub boss is because of his special 2. His special 2 is kind of like a cage that traps you, and it doesn't let you swipe left or right, and it doesn't let you do any basic attack damage, but you can still use specials. But you're also getting dealt dot damage while you're in the cage. Okay? Now, why is this such a bad thing? Well, I imagine that as a sub boss, his damage would be reduced, so you don't really have to worry about the dot damage. What you really have to worry about is not being able to swipe or do any basic attack hits. And the reason why this is a bad thing is because the way that the game mechanics work in the game, most of the time, and most people, like you and me, we do our specials after a combo, right? Because there's a little sweet spot after you use a combo that lets you do a special without the AI blocking it. Sometimes, the AI likes to cheat and it will block, but most of the time this works, and most of the time this is how you want to do it. You want to do a combo or some sort of basic attack hit, and then you want to do a special so that way it's a little bit unblockable. It's kind of unblockable, unless the AI cheats, like I said. But when you are completely disabled from swipes and from basic attack hits, the only thing that you can do in that cage is specials. And if you want to do specials without doing any basic attack hits or any combos, this is incredibly risky because you're basically gambling that the AI will or will not block, right? And we know the AI 99% of the time it's going to block, and it has 5 million plus health. So if you're doing specials on a sub boss that's blocking that has a lot of health, it's not going to end good. It's not going to end good. So even if you do have a character that does a lot of basic attack damage, which is what I think you want to use against this character, you still have to worry about his special 2 and him spamming special 2, kind of like Horrific Scarecrow does. Horrific Scarecrow is a lot like this character in a lot of ways. His passive is annoying and his special 2 is annoying. With Horrific Scarecrow, though, his special 2 just disables your abilities. You could still do basic attack damage or basic attack hits, swipe left, swipe right, whatever. You could still move around. And I prefer that a million times better over being stuck in a cage doing specials that I don't even know if are going to do, 10,000 damage or whatever. It's super annoying dealing with this guy's special 2, and I would hate to see it. I would hate to see him use it while also having 5 million health. All right? I don't want to see it. All right, so that was a list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Really quickly, I wanted to add a note. All right, these sub bosses in this list aren't meant to be impossible to beat. There's a lot of people out there playing Injustice 2 Mobile, and there's a lot of people with OP rosters. I'm sure somebody out there is going to figure out how to completely dismantle these sub bosses. But that's not the point of this video. I think most characters, even as sub bosses, are completely beatable. Right, completely beatable. But that's not the point. Like I said, the point is really just to add sub bosses that I think would be super inconvenient. Kind of like Horrific Scarecrow. I think Horrific Scarecrow is super inconvenient because he's got that Chaos ability, he's got the Armor Pierce Special 2, and his Special 2 disables abilities. So that is super inconvenient for a lot of people. And there's, just a few teams that could really one-shot Horrific Scarecrow. And with these sub bosses, I kind of wanted to add them as, I guess, sub bosses that would be kind of hard to kill and only a few teams could beat them, kind of like Horrific Scarecrow. So I guess you could think of these characters kind of like in the sense of Horrific Scarecrow, where I also don't want to see Horrific Scarecrow in the game as a sub boss, but there he is, and people are obviously defeating him. So I'm assuming anybody can defeat, somebody can defeat these characters in this list. But anyways, yeah, that's the list. Uh, this video took me a lot longer to make. I don't know if you guys noticed, but at the end of the video, my voice got a little bit raspier just because I could not explain Black Lightning correctly. Like it took me way too long to make his segment of the video. I don't know why. I don't know what that was about. But I guess it's because I improvise these. I don't like writing scripts because I sound like a robot every time I read off scripts. So I prefer to improvise. It's a lot more fun. I can also add the dramatic voice that I do sometimes. Whatever. I like doing it this way. I absolutely hate writing scripts. But yeah, anyways, that's it. That's the end of the video. I don't know why I'm still recording. This should be I should end it right now.